Hello and welcome to my channel. I finally got round to videoing this part 2 of this contemporary garden that we landscaped. Let's get on with it. So to start with, the garden isn't completely finished. We still have the roofs to finish on the gazebos, and the sleepers need a final painting, but most of the hard landscaping is pretty much there. After one of the wettest winters, springs that I can ever remember, this job, it just seemed to rain every single day, but we're pretty much about there now. So let's get on with where we're at. So start off here with this lovely water feature. Around this, we've gone for some Carex frosted curls, just to sort of soften the water feature and the edge of the sleepers as they grow. That should add a really nice sort of calming effect to this part of the border. So with the planting in this garden, we've kept it quite simple and contemporary, just to make it easy to look after and give some all year round interest. So going around here, we've planted this Mahonia soft caress. Again, the idea behind that was the soft fern-like leaves, as it grows bigger, would look quite soft against the sculptural water feature. Then we've gone for this variegated unanimous, just to sort of give that little bit of interest between the darker green and the lighter green, which goes well with the grasses next to it. Then here is going to grow into a small tree, and this is Drimmy's Winteri. Absolutely lovely tree, beautiful yellow flowers. I'll put up some footage of what it looks like in the nursery near me. One of my favourite small trees. Eventually that should grow up there and give some real sort of character to this part of the border. Then here we've just gone for some Euphorbia purpurea. At the minute it's flowering with these sort of lime yellow type flowers, but that will have quite purple foliage, which will tie in with some of the planting that we've done in the rest of the garden, because we've tried to use purples and black colours to go in with these dark fences, because we feel like they complement the garden really well. So this is a Nandina Bright Light, and this has lime green new foliage rather than the normal red foliage that comes on Nandinas. Just felt that it would give a really nice contrast against the dark black fencing as it grew there. Then we've gone for this, which is a Sambucus Black Tower. Excuse the light from the sun on the camera. This is a more upright Sambucus deciduous, but we thought the black foliage against the Nandina, and then also there's a Formium duet here which has quite sort of zingy lime green leaves. We felt like that would be really sort of more impact as they grew and give a good contrast. So then we've gone for here just some of the plain green Mundo grass, which is an Ophiopogon. We didn't want anything that grew too tall. It would just sort of spread around that area, and obviously because they wanted to see the statue behind, you know, we kept a real low growing grass in front of it that would deal with these sort of conditions. So that's that first border done. Not overplanted, gives everything room to grow, easy to look after, and the first part of the garden. So then here we've created these paths, and we've just used either side a Carex grass called Prairie Fire, so it will have like a ready growth to it, which is sort of ties in really with the reds that we've used in some of the other planting of the other Nandinas and stuff. So as that gets bigger, that will just soften this walkway as we go through into the next part of the garden. So then here to the left, basically what we've done is we've got this standard sort of olive tree here as a focal point, and then round it we've gone for much smaller leafed plants than other parts of the garden to give a bit more of a contemporary, a little bit more Mediterranean type look for the garden. So these little green balls around here are a Hebe New Zealand, and we sort of felt by using them in a contemporary sort of almost topiary way. If I zoom round here with the camera to show you, in this bed here we have a cloud pruned olive tree, and to sort of get that sort of topiary type feeling, we felt from the same view that these would grow and give us that sort of contemporary sort of look, hence the thought behind that. Then what else have we got? This is just a small greened Euonymus. Then we have this Weigela, which is sort of as like burgundy foliage and these lovely little pinky flowers. Behind that we have what's known as the smoke bush. That is a Cotinus royal purple, and that will grow up there and give that, it's deciduous, but it will give that beautiful burgundy foliage in front of that black fencing. Then we've got a purple leafed Hebe, and then behind that we've gone for a Ceanothus. So that's hardy evergreen, beautiful purple flowers, the bees love it, great pollinator. And then we also, because further back there in the fence behind, there's a lovely wisteria which also complements that with the purple flowers. So let's go down here. We have, this is Euphorbia Miner's Merlot, which will have, once we cut these flowers off, this beautiful sort of burgundy purpley looking foliage. And then against that we've gone for these, I know some people think they look dead, but they are actually meant to look like that. It's a bronze Carex, and the new growth be very sort of ready, and it is a plant that really complements going against the purple of the Miner's Merlot. So behind that I sort of wanted almost like a fiery look to it. So my thought was, we'll go for this Nandina with its sort of red growth, I should say, to give that sort of look, followed by the Formium behind, which is a Purpurea. And then I just felt like it almost giving that fiery look that I wanted to the border. Hopefully as they grow, they'll sort of give a lot more impact. Behind that, so that is the Pittosporum Tom Thumb, which obviously its growth, its leaves go very black looking. So I felt that tied in really well with the black fencing. In part one of my last video, I said that we would probably be using a cordon steel water bowl here to cover what was an inspection chamber manhole. This is a water bowl the customer already had. They may be replacing it, but for there, it's gone there for now. Behind that is just there a little variegated Nandina. Then this plant is a Portuguese laurel, which sort of is going to give us a small sort of tree type structure there, and sort of gives us a bit of a focal point when we come back here as we walk from this way. So then I'm going to move around here to the gazebo. If anyone's looking at that roof, that is just temporary until we get it fiberglass. Because of all the rain, it's really sort of made that awkward to get it done, because it should have been done a long time before now. So basically this next part, obviously the furniture's here and it's all got covers on at the minute, so it doesn't give the actual effect that it will do when that's all uncovered. But I tried to create windows. So when we built this gazebo, if I can zoom out a little bit, I wanted to create like windows. So from here, as you walk through, we have this sort of cut paving to draw you through. And on the side here, we have some Carex grasses to try and soften this walkway through. This is Carex Everlime, and then we have the Camarops Humulus palm. And we've repeated that Carex grass around the bottom here to sort of give us a more lush green, sort of softer feel as it grows. So going back to here, we walk through this path into this gazebo area, and then we've gone for a large variegated fatsia at the end there to sort of be almost architectural. You know, it really does sort of soften that black fence behind. We was originally going to plant ferns and that in front of it, but we thought we'll give it a chance to grow, keep it lower maintenance for the customer, and hopefully it should look really good come the future years. And then talking about creating windows, we've done it on this one as well. So from this side, as they sit here, we've gone for right in the center a Trachycarpus wagnerianus. Let me move around there. Right in the middle as a focal point, but in front of it, in this little gravel area, they've got another statue coming, sculpture, so we've left room for that as well. And then round here we've gone for, I really like this black-leafed hydrangea. I will put the name up, Dark Angels I think it's called. Really nice, this new black growth, which is sort of what we're trying to tie in, using these darker shades to go in with, to sort of complement the black that we've used in the fencing and the gazebos and stuff. Then round here we've gone for a Mahonia Sweet Winter. So there's one there and then there's another one there. And the reason being is, as we sat under it, this plant looks good all year round. It's going to give you yellow flowers in autumn, but it's one of the most sort of structural leaf shapes on a plant. Absolutely lovely. So when they sit here, it's going to look good all year round. There isn't going to be points where it really looks messy, which is what we're trying to go for. So behind that we have 3 Nandinas. I think they're Gulfstream if I remember right, so that's going to give us that little bit of red that's going to tie in with the border further around. Then we've gone for our Magnolia grandiflora, which is an evergreen sort of tree. That's going to be grown like a shrub to grow up and cover that bit of the fence. Then we've got this Fatsia, which is a real Fatsia japonica. Obviously it's very architectural leaf shape, and it does look really good in this position. It gets a relative amount of shade from the plants behind it, so it should cope really well in them conditions, especially as the magnolia grows and the waggy palm. And behind there as well, I don't know if I can show it, there is also another black leaf Sumbuscus to come up there and give us that colour in the back. And then just around here, so the Mahonia there was already in, so we've left that and just planted around it because we thought it was too big a nicer plant to take out. And then just around here we've gone for an Astelia Silver Shadow with these lovely sort of evergreen silver type leaves, just to sort of soften and give us that more grassy effect in front of the Fatsias. And then round here is another variegated Unanimous, which is, if I remember, I think it's Pierolino. I really like this plant, does really well in these sort of shadier conditions, not too shady, but yeah, just sort of brightens it up. Them little white leaves brighten this area up with the black all around it. Okay, so going round here behind this, so this area is going to be shadier because of the fence and the gazebo, And there we have a pittosporum that's going to grow right up there and fill that whole gap, and then we'll be seen from behind the gazebo. I think that one's called Abbotsbury Gold. So going around here, basically we've just gone for a Acuba graciifolia, which I really like, these jagged type leaves on this Acuba. It's plain green, it's not sort of in your face like some of the variegated ones. Yeah, really like that Acuba, and that should fill that whole sort of space and green that up. So then let's go back to the other view that they're going to have when they're sat at this furniture, and that's this way. So what we basically went for is we went for the big variegated phormium because they really like this plant as the central focal in the middle, and then we've planted around it. So basically let's start from left to right. So we've got the cordyline, which are obviously going to grow up there to eventually above the fence and give a nice silhouette against the sky. We've gone for another Mahonia soft caress, and then we've got this hydrangea that, because we just sort of wanted, it's mainly foliage this planting, so we wanted something with some flowers, and the green growth we really liked, and it has very burgundy stems. Then we've gone for this other focal point, which is a Trachycarpus fortunei. Next to that is this, a Euphorbia purpurai, and then we've gone for a Phormium yellow wave, another Nandina domestica, I think that one might be Richmond if I remember rightly, then just a little Euonymus, a Skimmia, and then we've gone for another Magnolia grandiflora, another Mahonia softgrass. So we've tried to repeat plant a lot in this because I think it's a natural thing that suits our eyes for group planting and repeat planting in a garden. If you just put one of each plant all the way around, that's fine, but it doesn't bring the same sort of balance that repeat planting and group planting does. So at the back of that we've got the Acuba Roseanne, which will just keep that all year evergreen leaves. So the idea of this planting is nearly everything in here will just look after itself. There will be a little bit of maintenance, but generally it should be quite simple. Obviously you have to water well in the first year, especially with these plants, and because it's raised beds. So we've gone for another pittosporum, the same as the one behind the gazebo, just again to bring that balance in. And then we've got a Camarops humilis going around here. We've got another purpurea, and then we've gone for this black leaf Zumbuscus, which is flowering at the minute and looks really nice against the trellis of the barbecue shelter behind it. So going around here, we wanted to sort of keep this very sparse and low maintenance, and not too much in it, but we've gone for these rosemaries because this shelter behind it is their barbecue area, and there is also a bay tree over the back, and there's also a thyme because they just wanted a few herbs in it next to the barbecue area. So that pretty much covers most of the planting in this garden. We haven't overplanted it, we've give everything room to try and grow into the space. If I walk back here you can get an overview pretty much of the whole garden. So to the right is this barbecue shelter that we've built using porcelain paving, timber raised beds which have been bitumened at the back. They have gravel behind the back to make them drain freely, to give them as much lifespan as absolutely possible. But yeah, all we've got to do is get the roofs fiberglassed, which will be a right pain to do afterwards, and then a good clean up and painting of the sleepers. But generally it's about there. The customers have now got it for the whole summer, and can really enjoy this space. And any questions, please leave in the comments. Like I say, this isn't a landscaping video. My channel's about tropical planting. I tried to keep it about that. There is no cannas in this video. There is no tetrapanics. There is none of that. This is a contemporary garden we're trying to make easy to maintain and hopefully look good as much of the year as possible. Any questions, like I say, please leave in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my garden soon. Cheers.